Hello everyone, this is Brian and I'm going to continue on with Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, otherwise known as OMD. This will be part 2, whether you like it or not. The metrics on the first video were way down in terms of views, comments, and likes, which is fine. I don't want to obsess about that, but it seems to me maybe there are some people who don't know who they are, don't like them, unaware of them, whatever. But if you're here, you're going to watch part 2, and that's all there is to it. So in the last video, I ended with Dazzle Ships, noting that I found it to be a really interesting record, but one of their worst selling records. It just didn't catch on. The critics were confounded by it. Their fans were confounded by it, and it didn't sell very well. And I think there must have been some clear direction from the record company to, hey, make some money. And so you can tell by the next record that they moved into slightly different territory. I think there's an obvious attempt to get some radio exposure to sell some more records. And it's noticeable right from the first single. So as usual, they released an advance single from the record. The next record, the fifth record, is Junk Culture. But before that came out, they released a track called Locomotion. And I did mention this before in a Random Records video. The flip sides are Her Body and My Soul and The Avenue, and this is from April 2nd, 1984. Now, not everyone loved it, though. There were some critics of this track. They felt it wasn't really up to the sound or up to the level of that we'd expect from them. But on the other hand, it was a top 5 hit in many countries in Europe, like Netherlands, UK, Belgium, etc., but not over in North America. I don't think it got much exposure unless you're listening to alternative radio or college radio. It didn't really do much. So one thing to note about Junk Culture is that it brings in brass instruments, which you either will like or not like. And this particular track has steel drums on it, which is a bit of a jarring thing. I don't know. You're either going to like it or you won't like it. And it is a danceable song. It's a pop song. It has as much energy as Enola Gay or Electricity or even Telegraph. It has that kind of sound to it, and I think it did well for them, and it made the charts. And so I think maybe that's clearly what they were trying to do is make the charts and sell records. So after that, the record Junk Culture came out. This was from April 30th, their fifth record. I don't know if I love this record cover. I think it's kind of ugly. As I said, 1984. This is a Canadian pressing. So yeah, I heard someone say this, they described this as being Talking Heads meets Kraftwerk, which I think is confounding. I don't really get that. But there is overall less experimentation. It's not completely gone, and there's more of a commercial sound. So on the commercial side, we have Locomotion. There's a track called Talking Loud and Clear, Tesla Girls, Never Turn Away. Those were the 4 singles. And there's some songs that wouldn't really probably be single material, but really didn't fit in with the experimental stuff. And so like a track called All Wrapped Up, which has kind of a calypso sound, Love and Violence, Hard Day. Then there are a couple tracks that are really kind of interesting to me. White Trash, which I really like, and Junk Culture, which is a title track, which is instrumental, and I think that's a really good song. Maybe the best one on the album. So it's the sleeve, just lyrics, and it has your typical red and green Virgin labels. And bizarrely, I have 2 copies, both from Canada. I don't know why. So that album to me is all about memories, though. I was living in a place with a roommate who played that record all the time, and I heard it so many times. At the beginning, I thought I was going to get sick of it, but I actually still like it, and it reminds me. A lot of music is about nostalgia, and that's a very nostalgic record for me, and it brings back memories, and I probably will always like it, and I like it. I do like that record. I'm not going to say I don't like it, because I do. Second single is Talking Loud and Clear. This is a UK 12-inch with the extended version. Flip side is Julia's Song, extended version. Now, Julia's Song appeared on the band's first record, but in this case, the tempo was changed. There's a new vocal, and they added brass to match the rest of the album. So I think I like the original better, but it's interesting. The video for Talking Loud, this is June 2nd, 84, by the way. The video for Talking Loud and Clear is a bit odd. It has kind of scarecrow people in it. So it's interesting. So I would pick Talking Loud and Clear as the best of the pop songs on the record, better than Locomotion and the ones that followed. That would be my pick for the best pop commercial song, and the title track for being the best track overall. But this is pretty interesting. I don't know, people want to see the label. I never know. People sometimes show them and people don't. This is just a very plain. The label in the UK. The next single was Tesla Girls, which was described by one critic as being inane and monotonous, and I certainly see what they're aiming at here. I actually don't mind the track, but it's not very deep. Flip sides have Garden City and a live version of Telegraph, and this is from August 28th, 1984. It's kind of like a quintessential new wave track. I think the reviews over the years have gotten better as the record aged. I think people decided they liked it better. Red Virgin labels. This is 1984, as I mentioned. Also a Canadian pressing. I do have a strange generic sleeve of Tesla Girls. This has 3 versions. It has specially remixed version. This is also a Canadian pressing. The instrumental version of Tesla Girls and the video version, which I'm guessing matches the length of the video, though I could be wrong on that. The 4th single is a track sung by Paul. He doesn't sing that many, but I like the ones he sings. Never Turn Away. Mellowish, atmospheric sound. Not the best-selling single from the record, I think, and it wasn't well liked by the critics. It has a version of All Wrapped Up called Wrap Up, and a live version of Waiting for the Man. Now, they recorded a studio version of that track, which appeared on the flip side of the Messages 10-inch single, but this is a live version, which actually is pretty good. I think it's not bad. And that wraps up the 4 singles from Junk Culture, and I think the record did pretty well for them, but I don't think it broke a lot of ground in North America. But on the other hand, the first single from the next record, Crush, was a track called So in Love. I actually like the design of this. This is a UK 12-inch version. The flip sides are extended version of Concrete Hands and Maria Galante, and So in Love here is the album version. And notice, produced by Stephen Hague. If you don't know who that is, he is a producer who worked with people like Pet Shop Boys, New Order, later Peter Gabriel, Malcolm McLaren, and even Per Ubu. He produced their most commercially successful record, Cloudland, which had the hit Waiting for Mary. So he actually gave Per Ubu an unlikely hit because it seemed bizarre that they would have one. The other thing is that this was a hit in North America, in the United States. It was I don't know where it charted in the United States, but it was definitely a hit in the United States. I don't know about Canada. I guess it's this interesting Mexican theme there. The other thing is to note that if you think that's a love song, you're wrong. Just read the lyrics one day. It's actually an anti-love song, breakup song, divorce song, I guess you'd call it. Here is the Canadian version of So in Love. The only difference is that the So in Love version here is the extended mix, as opposed to the British one that didn't have the extended mix. So that came out again. And I don't know, again, how successful this was. And then Crush came out, the 6th record, from June 17th, 1985, as I mentioned, produced by Stephen Hague. So if there was a feeling that Junk Culture was more of a move into commercial territory, this sort of confirmed that, because the first 2 tracks on here, the aforementioned So in Love and the one I'll mention next, Secret, were really, really, they were just top 40 songs. I think that was the intention of them. But there are some tracks here that are a little more experimental, like the title track, Crush, Block, Block, Block. I love Native Daughters of the Golden West. Then there's a track called Hold You, which is a pretty schlocky, slow melodic piece, which I don't like. Then there's 88 Seconds in Greensboro. That is a song about the Greensboro Massacre in 1979, where some members of the KKK and a neo-Nazi party killed 5 members of Communist Workers' Party in the span of 88 seconds. I think there was gunfire and they died. So that's what that's about. You can see Andy and Paul in the windows. So yeah, definitely a move towards more of a radio sound in most respects, but not a complete abandonment of what they were doing before. Probably more commercial than Junk Culture. and you can sort of get a sense of where they're going with this. So that's it. That's the album that came out, and then that was followed by another single, Secret. It's hard to see where Secret is written. It's kind of hidden there, and really, you can barely see it. It's in here. Another track sung by Paul. He doesn't sing that many, but I do like what he sings. Flip side is Drift, and this is from July 1985. And yeah, it's not bad. Again, very radio friendly. I think it was a hit for them in many places, but I don't know about North America. I'm not sure if they had much success with it over here, but I heard it a lot because it was very popular. I think I mentioned that was a UK version. The next single, which was the last from this record, is La Femme Accident, and this came in a number of versions. There was the 7 and 12-inch versions, and then there was a single 12-inch. This happens to be double 12-inch with Crush, the Crush cover. So the first record here has a 12 and 7-inch version of La Femme Accident, and then we have Enola Gay and a live version of Locomotion on this white label. So I like the track La Femme Accident. It's actually pretty well done song, and I think it's one of the better ones on the record. Oh, look at this. I am going to make this shorter than the first video. 2 things left to talk about. So after that record, they released a single from the Pretty in Pink soundtrack, and you may know it. It's called If You Leave by OMD. It says, taken from the soundtrack of the forthcoming Paramount motion picture Pretty in Pink. This is the extended version of Pretty in Pink. It has 88 seconds in Greensboro and a live version of Locomotion. So this was a pretty big track for them. I think I mentioned Enola Gay is probably their signature track, but it could well be this one. This got a lot of airplay. And it was funny because this was a last minute addition. They were asked to do a song because I think the plan was to use Don't You Forget About Me from Simple Minds, and they changed their mind. So OMD was tasked with writing a song, and they had 24 hours to do it and had to have the same beats per minute, which is why this is a pretty upbeat track. And I think originally they wanted to use Goddess of Love, which is a track that would appear on the next record. But anyway, they used this one. And yeah, that's that. So that's the UK version of If You Leave. And then I also have this Canadian version of If You Leave, which was released in this Pretty in Pink cover with the actors from the film. There's the flip side. So it has the 12-inch mix of If You Leave, La Femme Accident 12-inch version, Fire Gun, previously unreleased, and then If You Leave, the I guess the regular single version of this thing. Yeah. So I guess if you were walking into a record store and you saw this, you might be intrigued because of the cast from Pretty in Pink. But yeah, very successful song for them, and I think that sort of capped their commercial appeal, really. I mean, I don't know if they had a bigger track than this commercially. I don't know what what happened on the charts in North America, but that was a pretty impressive, successful song for them. Okay, so that ends part 2, and I'm going to come back with part 3, which will take things from like 1989 to 1996. So 1989 to 1996 will be the period. Or actually 1988. I just realized 1988 to 1986. I think that's right. 1996. Boy, I should stop talking. All right, so talk to you later. Thanks for watching.